All right, we're back for another episode of the Department Podcast here on YouTube, Apple Music, Apple Podcast, whatever, Spotify, wherever you want it to be. But Justin, Jesse, Clark, and Joseph are all here.
Hello.
Some of you guys are a little agitated, but we're recording this pretty late on Friday night, around 10:45.
This is how a bunch of 20-year-olds spend their Friday night.
Very late.
Looking at each other, talking about sports.
It didn't have to be late. Was the thing?
Didn't have to be late. Let's talk about it.
What's the issue, Joe? Huh?
Justin has to watch every single pitch of the fourth-place Baltimore Orioles team. I just don't understand. They're down 8-0 to the Red Sox, who are worse than them.
Oh no, Joe! Don't worry. They came back and made it 8-5 when they lost.
Still,
so it was all worth it.
They still came back though. They made it interesting. It's there for I'm there to watch the moments of them possibly coming back.
You know what else you can watch the moments in
YouTube.
Or you know what?
And you know what's really nice? They make it super short for you, which is something that baseball doesn't do.
I'm watching White Sox Cubs peripheral vision, and I see you guys. Like it both can happen. Both can.
I'm watching Clippers Mavs right now.
Oh, I hear it.
Oh, why is it so loud?
What happened? You sat on the remote there, Jesse?
Oh, well, it's under my leg. There we go.
Wait, I thought you wanted to watch. Wait, you are watching. Wait, did you say Mavericks, Clippers, or who?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you said Lakers, Cavs for a second. I was severely confused.
Huh?
I don't know. I was severely confused.
Justin's very tired because we.
Yeah, a long day of watching the Orioles lose. Ooh.
So instead of because you guys are all pissed off about me watching baseball, so let's talk about the NBA.
Oh, I thought you were going to say baseball. I thought you'd be that guy.
No.
I thought you were going to be that guy.
I mean, in the world of baseball, there really hasn't been nothing. There hasn't been too much going.
There's a couple things, but we'll get there.
Not the lead, story of major importance was, at the time we're recording it Friday night, so then last night for us at least, Thursday night was the NBA draft lottery.
Yes,
and
sir.
well, surprise, surprise, the Knicks did not even get close to a pick that they were projected to get. In typical Knicks fashion, they moved back in the lottery.
Yes.
And surprisingly enough, a team that, didn't really necessarily need the first overall pick, but are definitely going to benefit from having it. The Timberwolves got the first overall pick, followed by the Warriors, then the Hornets, and then the Bulls in the 1, 2, 3, and 4 spot. Very interesting outcome for the lottery.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Something's rigged somewhere in this situation.
Nothing is rigged.
Nothing is rigged.
There's literally nothing rigged here.
I don't know, man.
If it was rigged, they would have made sure the Knicks could get LaMelo Ball.
Maybe they're trying to just build a story around the Knicks. I don't know.
If they're trying to build a story around the Knicks, they would have them have the number 1 pick.
Maybe at this point. Or maybe they're just trying to spite Dolan for him to sell at this point because they just don't care about him anymore. They just want him out.
Okay,
it's not rigged.
But Minnesota?
Yeah, you see, like Minnesota then, because they don't need Wiseman because they have Towns, so they don't need a big man. They don't need a point guard because they just got D'Lo. At that point, it's almost like they're going to have to take Edwards maybe just out of necessity.
I think they take Ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder who the Suns.
I don't think you can't put Ball with
first overall.
You can't put Ball with Russell. The defensive pairing, and then you have Towns as the 5. They would literally be the worst defense in the NBA.
Well, I mean, this is the Suns' pick because they're going to trade Devin Booker for it. So,
hey,
you think this is how that super team happens?
Absolutely not.
Jesse, didn't you have a whole convoluted tinfoil hat theory of how to get them all to Brooklyn?
It was a great theory, but it required us keeping Russell instead of getting Kyrie and Durant. So I'm happy with the decision we made.
Yeah.
So then the next team that, didn't really skip a beat at this point and, had one down year was the Warriors who got the second overall pick. And if he's there, it makes sense for them to take Wiseman because that's really the only position they are missing.
They're going to take Wiseman. I mean, that's if they keep
if they keep the pick, it's Wiseman.
But I don't see really them keeping the pick.
I don't see them keeping the pick, but also the more I look, I don't see anybody who fits the Warriors via trade.
Unless they trade Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid does not fit with the Warriors. That's the problem. He literally leads the league in post-ups. The Warriors hate post-ups. He's one of the slowest players in the NBA. They do not play slow. They would have to change their entire offense for Joel Embiid. Could it work? Definitely. Will they do it? There's no way.
Yeah, I agree. But that's it. I agree. I don't think he fits. I think they keep the pick, honestly. I think they're going to keep it. I don't know.
I mean, at that point, it makes sense because you get a very good talent for, cheap and controllable.
Yeah.
Because if you take on Joel Embiid, you're gonna have to take on his salary at that point.
Really? I mean, they're trying to contend next year. I don't think that.
Yeah, but if Clay and Curry are healthy, they're gonna contend by default.
Centers, I think, come in and produce quicker than almost any position.
I agree.
So he can come in and start for that team, and then you can have some build up for the next couple of years. I liked the Warriors a lot coming into this year, but moving forward, this core of guys that you have, realistically, the championship window, if it's still open, 2 years, maybe, Draymond is wearing down at an excessive rate.
Draymond
cannot play offense. Cannot.
Draymond's done. I honestly, even on defense, I think he's done.
I think Steph
interested. It's possible, but he looked terrible this year.
Yeah, I think Steph can still be a top 10 player in the NBA, but I don't know if he's going to be in that top 3 range that he was, before that we all knew before Durant came. Now taking over a full load when we know how he's had injury history before. Clay is coming off a torn ACL. I think it kind of does make sense for them to go Wiseman.
For sure.
But I'm not necessarily positive that's what they're going to do.
I mean, do you see them even keeping Wiggins into next year? I think we could see overhaul.
Wiggins is definitively a trade piece that they want to move.
I think this team's complete.
They literally needed to trade for Wiggins to make the D'Lo money work. There was no other way. So that Wiggins contract, I think what they're hoping is he can play with them in their system, look pretty dang good, and then try to trade him for something that even if you just kind of break even on, that's a positive because you already got Minnesota's picks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I agree with that exactly. I don't think they keep Wiggins. I think they take Wiseman. I'm sticking with keeping on Wiseman. I don't see them trading away this pick. If you want to get younger as a team and secure your future as an organization, you keep your pick, you take this top 2 pick, and you run with it. Plain and simple.
This could be the change between the Warriors going back to not being a mediocre franchise, but there were years where they were doing nothing.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the they were either mediocre enough to barely contend or they were just bad.
Yeah. So if you want to try to just run it back with this team, you trade the pick. But if you want to start to become one of those top-tier franchises that is consistently always competing and, building longevity, you should start with this pick because you're never going to be in this position to select a talent again like this.
But they have they're at such an advantage because they have 2 superstars already and a number 2 pick and Wiggins. And they also have guys that can move around.
Well, that's the thing. They've kind of, without really, going through the pain of flat out, tanking or rebuilding or blowing it up, they stepped into this number 2 pick with relatively any pain, without any pain.
Because Curry was hurt for the whole year and Clay was out for the whole year.
Exactly.
There's no reason for them to keep this pick. I honestly think that it's worth so much more to them in a trade. I mean, what they could get with Wiggins and a number 2 pick is way more than what Wiseman can do for them this next year.
But again, what is available for them? What can they go out and get? I mean, okay, let's just run through some of the options, right? Beal doesn't fit. Clay and Steph are already
it's over.
Embiid already went over that. Doesn't really fit.
Jimmy buckets.
No.
Jimmy Butler is not available.
No.
Miami's
definitively not available.
He loves it in Miami. Miami loves him. He's, eating in the playoffs right now. So they're not going to move him. It's just he's untouchable.
Don't even say that.
There's no way that's going to happen. I mean, what stars are available?
But the only one is really Devin Booker. But at that point, you're playing.
Devin Booker's not available either.
But hypothetically, if he was, and if they were to make that move, it's
Well, that still doesn't fit then.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
They already have 2 guards. There's no forwards on the market. You could maybe trade Wiggins and that pick for Vucevic. I mean, sure, are you really going to give up on James Wiseman for a year for Vucevic?
But that's what I'm saying. Then at that point, you may as well just keep the pick and just develop Wiseman to then if you eventually had to move him, hopefully he's an all-star caliber player. You could get more in return, hopefully, at that point then, in like 3-4 years down the line, if you had to completely blow it up and rebuild.
Yeah. I think they have to take Wiseman. I don't think there's a trade route here that works. And if anybody says Giannis, just stop yourself before you say it.
There's a chance he goes there. There's still a chance.
In free agency, there's no way the Bucks are willingly trading him there.
I'm not free agency. I'm talking about the year after, though. There's a chance he goes to Golden State.
There's no way he goes unless he literally tells them, I am not going. Or they do a sign-in trade, which would be an entire year away. So they would have to draft Wiseman.
Okay.
So speaking of a team then, that's kind of relied on the draft to build their team, the Philadelphia 76ers, we've talked about them before, and now they're down 3-0 in the playoffs, and they threw away 4 years of the process for this. It's true, it proves that just getting high draft picks and hoping they pan out isn't how you build a team. You need to scout and actually develop a team.
Well, I mean, the drafting part they did. It's the everything else.
It's the performance part that's slacking.
I mean,
they're not performing.
I have certain feelings about Philly.
Tell me.
Because the process was working.
Okay.
And then they made them fire Hinkie. And they brought in Colangelo. Yeah. Who, by the way, went on Twitter and said bad things about the players that he brought in. That was a real thing if people don't remember that. Mm-hmm. He literally got fired for having burner accounts on Twitter criticizing Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Real thing, if you guys don't remember.
That's crazy.
Then they brought in Elton Brand, who has just been a terrible GM. Just doing all the wrong moves. So the drafting part and the process part and the picks,
yes,
for the most part, worked out. Their free agency decisions and where they're putting their money and the trades that they have made have put them in this position that the only thing on their roster of any substance that they can get a positive net trade back on is 3 players. Embiid, Simmons, Tyrell. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
They have some picks here and there. None of them are that great because they're not fully blowing it up. Al Horford has one of the worst contracts in the league. Tobias Harris has a pretty bad contract to go along with that.
Mm-hmm.
Shake Milton hasn't really worked. There is just so much with Philly that the draft part worked. They got 2 generational talents. They have failed to put the right team around them. And now it's become a point where they need to blow it up because they have nowhere else to go besides just continuing to do this over and over again.
And if they get swept out of the playoffs, the process
they will.
The process failed, and they really need to reevaluate what they're going to do in the offseason then.
First thing they need to do is fire Brett Brown immediately.
That should
have happened already.
That should have happened already. I've been on that bandwagon for about 2 years now. That it wasn't working with them at all.
Yeah. No.
Not even a little bit. Brett Brown's got to go. But that should not be where they stop.
Yeah.
They should not – do not just fire Brett Brown and be like, yep, everything's fixed. It was just Brett Brown. Brett Brown was the only problem, and, Ben Simmons was hurt in the playoffs. That's the only reason. Because you're just joking yourself at that point.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Well, another thing is, too,
it doesn't work.
J.J. Redick fit that team really well because he was a shooter, and they just let him walk.
Yeah.
You know,
because they needed to bring in Al Horford and need to re-sign Tobias Harris.
and same thing with Jimmy.
That was another thing. They traded for Tobias Harris. For what reason? What role did he fit your team?
Nothing.
And then you signed him to this massive extension because you traded for him. So you already gave up assets for him. So you needed to keep him. So you had his bird years or his bird rights. And now you've gone over the cap to sign him. And you have nowhere else to put your money because you gave Al Horford a huge contract. Because Jimmy Butler hated being in Philly and said he wanted to go to Miami.
Yeah. They just need to I think we're going to have another rebuild of this team again, which sucks for them. It's going to be another process, and no one's going to trust the process again.
As long as they keep one of their stars, they will be viable.
And if you have to keep one, you're keeping Embiid. I think you keep Embiid.
I think you got to keep Embiid. He fits the modern NBA a lot better than what Ben Simmons does. You know, he can at least stretch the floor so you can build some sort of a team around him. When you have a Ben Simmons who's essentially a point guard but the size of a center and plays like an old school center, there's really no room for that in the NBA right now.
And Embiid is the heart and soul of the team.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the leader.
See,
for sure.
It gets muddy though because nobody's saying Ben Simmons is better than Embiid. I am not saying that to any degree.
Good.
Embiid, I think, is the best center in the NBA.
Yeah.
But Ben is younger. For both of their injury history, Ben Simmons is much cleaner. They are shorter injuries. They're not the long-term injuries that Embiid has. We've also seen they have worked so little with Ben Simmons' style.
Yeah.
They didn't work with Embiid's like that much, but they really like hurt what Simmons does because Simmons is a penetration and kick out guard. And they have no shooters. So I think they've done a disservice to Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons can't grow and become that much better when they're just asking him to do the same thing over and over again, and you don't see his assist numbers climb because they don't have shooters around him. They never gave him a team. So if you're looking at all of those aspects, the ceiling long-term might be higher with Ben Simmons. You get more time out of him. He is a guard who can lock down other guards, and right now, this is a guard-heavy league. You need a perimeter defender like Ben Simmons on a championship team. So,
but to get through the East, I think you can argue you need Embiid more to get through the East right now.
Well, just having Embiid right now, Philly can't even beat Boston,
obviously,
who has no interior.
That goes back to the point of what's around Embiid. I mean, he's alone.
I agree. But if
Yeah.
Embiid was able to if Embiid alone was able to beat one team in a playoff series, it should be Boston because they're so weak inside. And they're barely even competing with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like, Boston is laughing them off the floor. They tried so hard tonight and still lost. They're going to come out game 4 and they are going to be, like, mentally destroyed.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be bad. And I don't know if Embiid is going to want to stay.
Yeah, you had a point there. I didn't even think about that. You know, Embiid might not want to stay.
That's the thing, too. One of them might just say, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, and I'd say that would be Embiid if it's one of the two.
Before it's Simmons,
I agree, yeah.
But also, Embiid really does love Philly, so I don't know. It's tough. But
True.
I think there's also an idea that Embiid's prime is going to be longer than it is. I think we're at it and probably another year or two. I don't think Embiid's body holds up long term.
Well, I also think that
4 or 5 years down the road, I don't know if Embiid is still a massively dominant force.
As I watch Luka get a hobble into the locker room right here.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
he went down with a leg injury.
That's gonna be it for that series. There's a belief out here that Ben Simmons is still this work in progress as a player.
He's still a rookie.
At what point does potential turn into actual results? You
He's
know,
not
like
getting any better. He's not getting any better.
that's what I'm saying. Like he is
But you can also attribute that to the Sixers. If he goes to a different team, I mean, I don't like to ever be like, well, this guy has untapped potential in his like 4th, 5th year. Because at that point, it's like, all right, get to it. Get to the potential.
Yeah.
But Simmons' potential is not what they play to.
No.
At all. You would do what Milwaukee did and give him shooters around the arc. Or at least a bench unit of shooters that he could work with when Embiid's off the floor. They never did any of that. No, they needed Josh Richardson, who I'm sure Clark, you remember.
Oh, I remember.
was not a great 3-point shooter.
Oh.
In the game earlier, with about 50 seconds left, I believe it was 100, 104. It was like a 4-point game. 76ers were down. And Josh Richardson just chucked up this absolute brick.
That era of the Heat got me so mad.
Hit the side of like the rim, or not even the rim, the backboard. Hit off the side of the backboard and just jagged straight down. Like just the definition of a brick. And that guy was supposed to be their best 3-point shooter coming into the year.
Yeah. Yep. Jesse,
It's
how's
a
Tyler
shooting
Johnson doing?
league.
Jesse, how's
He's
Tyler
pretty
Johnson
solid.
doing? Is he?
He's pretty solid. He's going to make the roster.
the Nets are irrelevant right now, though.
Not till next year. Till next year, yeah.
Yeah.
Next year.
We're 4 quarters away from the next time we see the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
That's what I'm saying. They were just there
scary.
just for the sake of being there.
Oh God, it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be scary. I'm
gonna
scared.
cry.
I'm tired of the Sixers, so let's talk about a team that a few teams actually have a shot in the playoffs. The Portland Trailblazers are putting up a pretty good fight against the Lakers, with the series being 1-1.
Not last night.
Not game 2.
Game 1 was a good fight.
Game 1 was fantastic. I love seeing that. I love Damian Lillard. I'm on the Damian Lillard bandwagon for years now, so I'm with seeing him perform.
Are they a legitimate threat right now to the Lakers?
No.
Absolutely
No.
not.
I'm sorry, but no.
The Lakers had to literally miss every single open shot that they possibly could in game 1.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
They were 5 of 31 from 3.
Just imagine if LeBron scored more points in game 2 now. And look how much they already won by in last night's game. Anthony Davis tore up the court. It's just, I'm sorry, Portland, but
if Anthony Davis is going to play like that, no.
And just imagine if LeBron plays on that level too, and both of them together playing like that. It
doesn't matter. LeBron can play as well as he can. Anthony Davis is the difference maker on that squad.
I don't disagree.
The difference maker for Anthony Davis is if he would just play the center position. It's not. All the match shows, every single statistic, every number, everything you look at. The Lakers are a better team when he runs the 5. And for whatever reason, it has been just drilled into his head. I am a power forward. Under no circumstances can I play center.
And when
I will throw a tantrum if I have to play center.
And when he plays the 5, he's a top 3 center in the league, at least.
Yes.
Yeah, I might even put him first.
He's so good at the 5 spot.
Yeah, for sure.
And he just doesn't want to play the 5.
Well, because when you look at the NBA too, really, other than Embiid, and Jokic, center is a lighter position, interior defensive wise. For God's sakes, you have the Rockets running out PJ Tucker as a center for them. At that point, it makes sense for him just to do it just for the matchup reason of it.
True.
Well, Dwight Howard changes everything.
Dwight.
Yeah, Dwight doesn't do much outside of the paint.
Yeah. I mean, he changes.
Is he?
Well,
he's the
they
last
brought
of
in Dwight because Davis doesn't want to run the 5.
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying.
They bring in 5s like JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard so that Anthony Davis doesn't have to.
That's ridiculous.
It's not because they wanted those guys, which they were good for them during the regular season. That's fine. But in the playoffs, when every series is do or die and every game matters, There's no room for tantrums if I don't want to play that position.
No, it's not like
Especially, you would think since he was wasting away in New Orleans, he got to LA playing with LeBron, you think he would literally just do, all right, whatever you need me to do, let's get a ring and, move on.
Exactly. You do what it takes to get a ring.
Anthony Davis refusing to play the center position is not going to kill them.
It won't kill them, but it'll hurt them.
I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say here that it quite literally could ruin their entire championship process.
It's like the knife poking somebody, but it's not going in and twisting. It's just poking somebody. That's all it's doing. That's my analogy.
If they come up against the Rockets, who, by the way, look fantastic without Russell Westbrook, if they come up against the Rockets and Davis won't run the 5 and they need Howard or McGee in there, Houston could quite literally shoot them off the floor. If Anthony Davis is playing perimeter defense on Robert Covington and Dwight Howard is covering PJ Tucker, Houston, I think, would probably destroy them.
Possible. Very possible.
I don't know about that because I don't think the Rockets can be able to defend Anthony Davis.
See, but that's the thing. They don't even really need to because Anthony Davis defends Anthony Davis by settling for those long mid-range jumpers when he could just pound in the paint every single possession. Mm-hmm. But no, he really loves those long middies instead.
No, yeah.
So, if Anthony Davis plays like Game 1 Anthony Davis in a series with the Rockets, they would definitively lose. If he plays like Anthony Davis from Game 2, then they could win.
Yeah.
But Anthony Davis from Game 2 also played a little bit more 5.
If they're going to beat the Rockets, which they are, LeBron's going to have to take over the game.
Yeah.
None of the pass first nonsense that we see from him. I mean, he's going to have to go into playoff mode. And honestly, if I'm the Rockets, Russ, take your time.
Oh, Russ, take your time.
Take your sweet little time. We are fine.
Yeah, for sure. They don't need him.
He's been great on the sideline for them.
Yeah.
Like, talking to guys and literally coaching them on what to do on defense. Their defense right now, by the way, has never looked better. Period. They are absolutely – I've seen countless possessions where the Oklahoma City Thunder take all 24 seconds and still do not get off a good shot.
The Thunder aren't there yet. I mean, we're going to see maybe next year, but I thought so. I really thought the Thunder were going to make this a series, but it's not yet. Not yet.
Something I just want to talk about real quick. Why the hell is Luka back in on one leg when they're down almost 20 in the fourth quarter? That's borderline.
This is honestly it for them, though.
No, I understand, but that's borderline Derrick Rose in the fourth quarter when they're up 20. Why is he in there almost? He's literally hobbling up and down the court. He should not be in there right now.
You're risking someone's future right now at this point. It's not worth it. It's not.
They're down 14.
He's probably demanding it.
They're down 14, and they lose this game. It's basically over.
It's so sad that this series is over at 2-1, considering the Clippers should be down 0-2.
He looks like me lumbering up and down the court right now. He can't move in transition, it looks like.
After you hurt your ankle in dodgeball?
Yes, it literally looks like me hobbling. He shouldn't be in there.
No.
They're down 14 in the fourth quarter of a do-or-die playoff game. If he's going to do it, it's going to be now.
You're not wrong, but it's just...
But a potential, if he blows out his Achilles, that will seriously...
The year.
That'll seriously screw up next year.
He'd be out for literally all of next year.
Yeah.
So, real quick then, last thing on the NBA playoffs, for taking a quick little break. The Magic stole a win against the Bucks. Nothing more is going to come from that series, right? That was a fluke.
I wish the Magic would win that series.
The Magic worst. I mean, the Nets obviously, but I mean the worst team.
Yeah.
In this right now.
I wish the Magic would win.
And they have injury problems too. They stole a game from them. Milwaukee has been night walking, just the whole seeding, everything.
Well, didn't they come into the bubble with the number 1 seed already locked up?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think they've been in cruise control this whole time
since March.
Yeah.
Like, they literally haven't had to try.
I think game one might have been good for them.
I think the same thing happened with the Lakers, though. Exactly. Lakers were in cruise control, too. And then Portland, who's been fighting their ass off the last couple of little bits, bubble games, and they just were hot. They were hot. And they beat the Lakers, but yeah. Boom.
Well, any last thoughts on the NBA playoffs before we take a little break here?
Jimmy Butler's a monster.
I think every team that's going to be winning their series after today, they're not going to lose again. Like every series.
Yeah.
Norman.
I mean, these are all conclusions. I think.
I mean, the first round of the NBA.
I think the East is pretty weak. I think
you think we're going to see Toronto, Milwaukee in the conference finals?
I don't think there is another.
I think the West is a lot weaker than it gets credit for right now.
The West can be weak, but also when your 7th seed is Dallas.
I just think the West is more like predictable in a way.
I disagree.
Really?
How is the West more predictable? You think they're going to run roughshod?
I mean, because Boston, they're winning.
We're talking about the Rockets getting their doors blown or blowing the doors off LA. I think the Bucks pretty much.
I don't know. I just can't count any team out of the East yet.
I mean,
honestly.
Miami has put up a good showing. Like they put their name back into it. But Philadelphia is dead. Boston, they're a joke. They're not making it far. The Nets are going to get eliminated. Indiana,
All right.
Miami's already taken out the trash on Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's really the East is really Milwaukee, Toronto.
That's maybe Miami.
Maybe Miami if they get the momentum going.
Yeah.
You have like 4 or 5 legitimate teams coming out of the West that you can make a legitimate.
True, you got a point. I don't know.
You have the Clippers, the Lakers, Rockets.
That's the same thing. 3 teams though.
But the Jazz Nuggets series is interesting because the Jazz
that could go
either way, I think are a good matchup with the Clippers.
Well, both teams are good. Whoever wins that series is losing the next round anyway, so
yeah.
Whatever with that. But that's the same thing. You said the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Rockets in the West. It's the Heat, the Bucks, and the Raptors in the East. It's
I like the Rockets a lot more than I like the Heat, though.
Oh, me too. I'm a Heat fan, and I'd say the Rockets are a lot better than the Heat.
I give it 4.5. I think the Rockets are the half, and then LA's Toronto.
LA's are like
Toronto.
Yeah. Okay.
4.5.
I respect it.
All right. Well, we'll take a quick break here on the Department Podcast, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the MLB and some news in the NFL. So make sure to keep listening after the break. Welcome back to the Department Podcast. In between our little recording part of the 2 little segments here, had a little discussion, right? At what point is it okay for you to leave your team and abandon ship?
Never.
I am being ridiculed and borderline crucified by Joe over here for sitting and watching an Orioles baseball game, even though they were losing 8-0 in the 7th, come back and lose 8-5. And I guess Joe just doesn't have loyalty to, a brand or a team to sit and stay through the hard times.
Wow.
It would be like if you left Jersey Mike's, stock went down and you went to Quiznos or Subway or something. Your thing is just pick a new one. Sorry, I enjoy a singular team and I root for the laundry.
Here's what I say.
Okay, what?
Between the years of 2013 and 2016, if you had asked me, I was a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. And I feel like that's okay. The reason is that sports exist for our entertainment. They're not blood ties.
Yes, they are.
That we make.
Yes,
I love to root.
Says the one who's going to jump to Brooklyn next year if Bradley Beal leaves.
Right here.
That's true.
Nets jersey. Vince Carter. You can't see it, but it was signed, right?
You bought that after.
We got it for being Nets season ticket holders as a reward. I was originally a Nets fan growing up. My father was still a Wizards fan. But when the Nets sucked, not because of the King trade for Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics, basically, it was because they left New Jersey and went to Brooklyn. At that
That's
point,
why you
they
went to
left,
Washington.
and they were no
Like
longer
that
my
John
team.
Wall, that's right.
So that's when I went to
Yeah,
DC.
because Washington's closer
You
than
can't just do
Brooklyn.
that, though, Justin. You can't do that and then make these claims without me.
My only exception.
No, because you jumped to the Warriors.
See, my only
When the
exception
going gets tough, you
No.
bounce and get an easier team to root for.
It's that sports are for entertainment.
Joe,
That's-
you're 20 years old, and you've never had to deal with a rebuild. You just, I'll come back when you're good. Do the hard work. I'll root for you when you're a championship team.
Yes. At the core, yeah, I am a New York Football Giants fan. But like, I'm not gonna just like live and die when they're gonna go 3-13. Like, I have to like have some enjoyment of the sport.
You can like other teams, but not be a total fan of that team.
The way I see it is, if you go through the hard times, you go through the rebuild, when the team eventually wins, it is so much sweeter to go through the shit, basically, and come out on the other side. Like Jesse, right now, you slogged through the crap of the Billy King trade, and you're living the high life right now because you.
Well, we haven't won anything yet, but that the moment that Durant said he was coming was a moment that I will quite literally never forget.
But then doesn't that validate the pain of dealing with – because if you guys don't completely bottom out, you can't say you're getting Durant then at that point because then you don't get –
but – okay.
You don't get Sean Marks, you don't get
This is my take on it.
Yeah.
Okay. You can leave – I think you can leave a team if they have shown they are an incompetent organization.
And you don't think the Giants are there. You don't
think. The Giants have won – no. Incompetent means like they are the Jets. The Jets are incompetent right now by far. Like you are bad. You don't draft well. You get like the talented players you have want to leave. Like the New York Knicks have had one good team in the past 15 years.
That's generous, too. That's very generous.
And there are still, like, the biggest brand.
You're
at that point
right now. What have okay. 2012 was a very long time ago for the Giants. Since then, they've only been
– The Giants
– It wasn't even a decade ago.
Like, the Giants just made the playoffs, like, 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And had, like, one of the best defenses in the league.
And what happened after that?
It doesn't matter. They made it there.
I'm sorry a team reaches the pinnacle and they have to rebuild.
And the team can't be good just all the time.
The Jets made the championship game 10 years ago. Back to back.
The Jets made the AFC championship. That's different. And also, none of those players stuck around. And the coach isn't even there.
Did anyone from the 2015 Giants stick around?
Eli.
Too long.
Winning a Super Bowl and getting blown out in AFC championship games are two very different things.
Yeah. Look, Joe, you ask a Chiefs fan right now, say they suck and they have Pat Mahomes, but that's it. They don't win anything else. It was worth that one championship to go through, say, another 50 years of waiting for another championship run.
I mean, yes, but then in the meantime, they're allowed to be like,
I think you just don't care about teams then at that point, and you just identify – just to say you're a fan, to leave then.
I don't know about that.
I think you can like other teams.
That's what I said.
You shouldn't
be a fan.
I'm always a fan. For whatever reason, I think it's because I used to really like Adrian Peterson when I was younger. I still kind of like the Vikings to some degree. Like, I hope the Vikings are good sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like...
You can like other teams. There's no problem with liking other teams. I like the Ravens. I like the Chiefs. But
see, I think with the core of sports is you need to have a tie to one team to be invested in it.
Yes.
That's how I see it. Like, you can enjoy watching...
How are you enjoing Major League Baseball in, like, last
Because
year?
I'm...
So, Justin, when was the last time the Orioles were, like, viable?
2016.
15.
Okay. When was the last World Series win?
1983.
Okay.
86.
Justin, when the Orioles lose 105 games.
We lost 114 last year.
Like, how is
Justin,
that?
You can leave. You can leave.
Like, how does that ruin the sport for you at all?
No, I like it still.
And without picking a new team to root for? Like, that's
because I am too loyal to this team. I feel like I could watch other games. Like, I could have the Cubs-White Sox game on and still enjoy it, but I have no connection to it.
So, I'll say this.
It was
also,
ingrained into my head as a child. These are your teams. You stick with them through thick and thin, and that's it.
Yeah, except for when the Nets left, but
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't really care about baseball.
Okay.
I mean, basketball.
I think from
I'm getting that clip. I don't care about baseball. I'm getting that clip. I can't wait.
I think from an analysis standpoint, though, as well, it's easier to analyze a game and to, like, kind of just enjoy how, like, well it's being played when your team's not in it. Like, if you're watching the Super Bowl as a fan of one of the teams, it's entirely different than if you're watching it and you're like, oh, yeah, like, my team's not in there. Let's see what happens. Because then you're thinking of it from, like, a different standpoint. So I do think there's a difference there where I notice more when I'm not a fan of the team.
I feel it's easier to analyze the NFL when I'm not, watching the Giants with a close eye and I'm watching the entire league. I think it's easier.
Yeah.
No, I understand, because there are times where if I had the Colts game on, I have Red Zone on, I'm not really paying attention because I'm watching the Colts at that point. So I get what you're saying at that point. But, like, I just feel like it's not as fulfilling if you're just like, eh. Like,
I agree there, too. I do agree there. Because,
because it all really depends on what you view sports as. I like this as entertainment, an escape. I don't want to allow this to be my problem. I want this to be the escape from the real problems.
My thing is, I'm a very competitive person, if you haven't noticed, for the little things, Madden or, radio or stuff like that, or anything, or life.
Dodgeball.
Yeah, dodgeball.
You're talking to us.
Both. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But my thing is, I want to pride myself on my team winning, So that's why I need to stick to one team.
You're not getting a ring.
Yes, but, if you're with the team throughout a whole season, or even through a rebuild, you watch a team grow. Like right now, the Orioles just called up their one prospect, Ryan Mountcastle, right? He started his career.
Okay, here's my question now.
Yes.
Like, there is a situation, there has been situations when I'm just not a big fan of the players on the Yankees or on the Giants.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, isn't that still your team? And shouldn't you at least root for the team to win, even if you don't care? There are players on the Colts I don't care for, so be it, but they're on the team, and I hope they still contribute.
Exactly.
Like, I prefer the players on other teams more. Like,
of course.
Sue me.
You're not going to have a super team on your team that you like.
The Yankees are supposed to be. That's how Yankee fans view themselves.
Like,
they are a super team.
Completely around on me.
They lose a couple games and they think their season's over.
But here's the thing. You see the other players on those teams, right? Wouldn't you then want your team to build a team like that? So wouldn't that be fulfilling then to see, okay, this player is bad, not as good as this person, so maybe let's either develop a player to be like that, or how about let's go out and get that player to make our team better?
Yes, but what if your organization never does that?
Like
if the Nets don't hire Sean Marks, this could be entirely different. Like, we could still be so incredibly bad.
Like, you're just waiting for the Orioles to, like, what? Do you think they're going
to get a good GM?
President. We finally got one.
You think Elias is really going to make a move?
No, not this year. Oh, please. I'm on the suck for Kumar train already again. Like, the first 25 games were fun.
First of all, this is important for me. Kumar Rocker is getting a Tommy John surgery almost immediately after he's drafted. The guy's thrown 1,000, a million innings. I don't understand how anybody thinks that he's going to be this, great pitcher away.
Look, my thing is, I've gone to a lot of baseball games, right? That's where I spent most of my summer. Is like my vacations is Baltimore, right? So I have memories in Baltimore, right? I know your only experience in Baltimore is The Wire, Joe, so that doesn't matter.
I've been to Camden Yards like 4 times.
I've been to Camden Yards probably 50 times.
That doesn't.
I'm feeling sorry for both of you.
Smell a flex right now on J-Val.
No, but what I'm just saying is being there. No, but being there, being part of the crowd, and when they were good, it's fun.
It's entertainment.
Exactly, but at that point, it's like shows. There are seasons of shows where it's really good. It sucks, and you hope it gets better again. And if it does, then great. If it doesn't, damn it.
Yeah, but am I not a fan?
Yeah, but also you can stop watching the show.
Yeah, like, am I not a fan of the first 3 seasons of the show if I decide to watch something else when it comes to, like, season 5? Like,
I just think
any less of a fan.
That comes back to the thing of like, I think teams should try to keep your fandom. They should give you something.
Oh, I'm
like
for life.
At least be good here and there, or commit to something. Like, we're gonna get better at scouting players, or just don't be bad. Like, there are teams that have been bad for like all of my life, like the Detroit Lions. What have the Lions done since my whole life?
Nothing.
I don't know.
Really, other than the Pistons championship win, I think the Red Wings might have won.
The Red Wings, I thought, were good for a little while.
They were okay for a while. But, like, what has the city of Detroit sports has ever done in our lifetime other than the 04 Pistons?
Detroit basketball right now ranks before, everything happened, dead last in attendance like the last 4 years in the NBA. Their home games, they never sold them out. They were at like
still have
70
fans of the team.
Yeah, they were at 75% capacity.
This brings me back to a bigger point that really this was kind of, a smaller topic, but to zoom out, sports as a whole, nobody cares about hockey.
At least we can all agree on something.
I like hockey. I'm not watching the playoffs, though.
I like the atmosphere of hockey games, but
I like how hockey's playoffs or whatever, like their season restarted, and you literally could have had no idea. Like,
there was no drama about debating on how they're it was just like
nobody within my immediate circle talked about it. I didn't see it on Twitter, ESPN, Fox Sports.
I don't have a problem with people who like hockey. But when the only sport you like is hockey, you're a weirdo.
You're odd.
You're a weirdo.
You're odd.
You're weird. Like, you're a weird guy. Like, if your sentence is, I don't like sports, but I really like hockey, congrats. You're a weirdo.
You're a weird
We know a few of those.
Honestly, I think the only sport that could be your primary sport is football. I think anything else is a little bizarre. Anyone who's only a baseball fan, that's still weird for me.
Football is the most, I don't want to say user, but it's the easiest for new people to get into.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it's got the perfect combination of simplicity, but also
every play could potentially be a highlight.
But there's also 15 things happening, but you only have to pay attention to the one. But there's still 14 other things that no one would notice.
And it's exciting all the time too. It's always fast.
Yeah, there's action on everything.
Unless the Super Bowl during the Rams and the Patriots.
Well, and also it helps that the regular season,
is quick. But also, I think with football, it almost keeps the ADD attention span of America, where it's it's only this day, and this day, and you don't have to commit to it. Baseball's every day. Basketball, when it's normal, is every day. And it's a longer haul that you have to be invested in. Football is you just have to commit 3 hours on a Sunday and you're done.
Well, it's also just as regional as is national.
Yeah.
Baseball is so regional. Basketball strictly national, really.
So just to round out this little discussion, at what teams in each of the three leagues we care about, because hockey, I don't think you guys can name most of the hockey teams. At what point is it okay for you to leave? What franchise can you get a pass and be like, it's okay for you to leave and pick a new one?
Well, I'll say I think 10 to 15 years of dysfunction is enough.
In a row, or just
I think in a row.
In a row.
I think when your team's in its current state has no one direction and nothing nothing currently and nothing for the future, then if it seems like the front office is hopeless, then you're hopeless.
So the NFL, you have the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jaguars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, definitely.
Cleveland. I'm not sold
Cleveland,
on it.
Cleveland, you could have definitely left. Yeah.
They
you
finally
could have
got
left
there.
At certain points you definitely could have left.
The Jets.
Detroit, definitely.
Detroit for sure.
And the Jets.
And the Jets, yes.
Houston gotta get there.
Houston got there, and I think they're going back to no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, once Deshaun leaves too, it's all downhill from there.
There's no way they keep him.
No, they're not keeping him.
To.
No, he's gone.
No,
the NBA,
they're gonna keep him somehow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
I feel terrible about it, but I know the quarterbacks don't leave.
They need to can Bill O'Brien. They need to get rid of him as fast as humanly possible.
Oh, but absolutely. But at this point, even if they do, he's done so much damage.
Well, that's the thing. He has like the Bill. He thinks he has the Bill Belichick complexion, where he can GM and run the team. Where in reality, he turned into Jerry Jones and ruined the team.
He can't do either.
Yeah, he can't coach and he can't GM.
No.
So in the NBA, you can leave it if you're a Suns fan.
Yeah.
Pelicans fan. Don't know if that exists anyway. Knicks fan.
Pelicans, I don't think so. Pelicans have done it.
Pelicans have done,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done. Well, they've did everything they possibly could.
And they're on the rise right now too.
Yeah.
So.
Really, the Knicks are the biggest one in the
Knicks.
NBA.
It's the Knicks.
Knicks, you could leave. I would say Detroit, you could leave because they have literally nothing.
Everyone else you could say it about doesn't have fans anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and there's a lot of course, the area we live in, a lot of Knicks, Jets fans around here, so they have a lot of pain.
Baseball, get the hell out of Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit made World Series recently.
That was like 2012 though. That's like 8 years ago. It's getting there.
Yeah, the Giants. Okay, all right.
But the Giants won it. The Giants won it though. They got to the mountaintop.
They won.
I could argue that Detroit was much more talented in their own respective sport.
Oh yeah, bring in an old Pudge.
What? You're talking about 2006?
Whatever.
Like you're literally talking about like when we were 5 years old. Like,
even then, doesn't matter. They still suck.
Like you're a decade off on that one.
6
Miami, like enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, like brutal. The San Francisco Giants.
The Giants are gonna be in the basement
Pirates.
Yeah, but the Giants won World Series.
They won
a decade
They
ago.
won 3 and 6.
Yeah.
See that's kind of the price you have to pay for winning championships. You have to sacrifice your future.
Yeah.
The Pirates never even got close.
Oh, the Pirates haven't been good since '71.
Jesus Christ. Wow,
Right.
that was a fun little discussion.
So where do you guys want to go? Because I don't know how much time we have left on the Zoom clock.
We might need to do another little thing if it's up to you guys.
No. They're getting it. Joe's getting it.
I would, but I actually really got to go watch this Orioles game.
Oh, okay.
They're down 8-0, but I'm sure they're going to come back.
So just a Luka update. I'm pretty sure he just obliterated his ankle because he is hobbling.
He took himself out.
Yeah.
After
Kawhi wants no part of this.
He just,
Yeah, no.
He could give the least bit of anything right now in this interview.
Well, has to carry this entire team because Paul George shot like 2 of 14 tonight.
How quickly do you think he calls his uncle and gets him out of there? How bad?
No, he's not going to leave because he moved to LA. He's in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Even if they're not a championship contender, which they are because he's there. Even if somehow they bottomed out and it was just him, I don't think he would leave.
He would be happy, just content there because he's where he wants to be.
If he wanted to be with the championship team, he would have just stayed with Toronto. They literally just won and got better. So if he really was worried about that, he could have just stayed.
Yeah.
He has nothing left.
Or honestly, the Lakers kind of were a better pick.
How many players in the NBA do you think have nothing left to prove?
LeBron. Kawhi.
I think Kawhi still has something to prove.
Oh, what?
He's never been the best player in the NBA for
he literally came into Canada as a mercenary and won a Finals MVP in 1 year and bounced.
Oh, yes. And it's San Antonio.
Yeah.
Oh, and San Antonio when he had 3 other stars.
Goats. 3 other goats.
Literally the greatest power forward of all time playing with them.
They were all old.
So what does he still have to prove?
Oh my God, they were all old. They destroyed the Heat.
Yeah,
that is an awful take.
That
is a terrible take. They quite literally destroyed the Heat. The largest scoring margin in the history of the finals was that finals.
LeBron.
Do not ever act like that was Kawhi Leonard.
LeBron.
That was that entire team. You do not credit Kawhi Leonard that entire ring. That's blasphemous.
The defense he played.
Yeah, that was great because his offense wasn't really there. Congrats. He was Tony Allen in a bigger spotlight. Cool.
Wow.
So LeBron's the only one.
As of right now,
3-6 record of the finals is the only one who has nothing left.
Yeah, because at minimum, if you're a smart basketball fan, you don't put LeBron below number 2 or number 3 all time.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant has something to prove with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't win a championship, it looks like he jumped on the Golden State bandwagon.
Which he did, but it reinforces it more.
I know someone else who jumped on the Golden State bandwagon too.
If I personally think if Curry and Clay never win anything else, it'll look like Durant saved them.
Yeah, honestly.
But all right.
It's true.
It's very true.
If Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving don't get hurt, LeBron most likely wins the first time.
I mean,
and then the second year LeBron wins when they're healthy.
But you could say that then about Kawhi in Toronto, where literally half of.
That's why I think Kawhi still has something to prove. He didn't beat the dynasty at full strength.
I was talking to Clark about this on one of my morning walks when Joe refused to pick up because he had prior, commitments, probably working. But at this point, Kawhi came in. They won a title. Kawhi left.
You talked about this on your own time? What?
Yes.
We're having a friendly conversation.
Somehow we got on this conversation. Kawhi left. They got better. So really, they didn't even need Kawhi at that point. They could have just dumped DeRozan, and apparently they would have been a better team.
So you telling me that they did not need Kawhi Leonard last year?
Well, they needed Kawhi to win the championship.
But
I'm saying what I meant to say was if they go out and make the finals this year. It
hurts Kawhi's legacy, definitely.
Yeah, because at that point,
it doesn't look like he didn't carry them.
Yeah,
that's the whole notion this past year.
No, he only really carried them within the East, but he did not actually carry them in the finals itself.
Well, they had good players throughout. I mean, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam.
Siakam played like a superstar in the playoffs and gets no credit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And gets absolutely no credit for it.
Didn't he drop 40-something in the first game?
Probably. It was ridiculous. He was so good all of last year and this year, and still they barely talk about him.
Yeah.
So is Fred VanVleet going to be the next overpaid player the Knicks get?
Yes.
I think Toronto's going to keep him.
You think so? He's unrestricted at the end of this year.
But he really likes Toronto, and Toronto really likes him.
He's going to go to the Knicks.
Because the Knicks are desperate at this point.
Because the Knicks will throw money at people, and they don't have a point guard. Yeah. They haven't had a point guard since old Jason Kidd.
Okay, but
with old Derek Fisher as his backup.
He's not changing the landscape of it.
Oh, yeah, Joe. We know that. But the Knicks don't know that.
But it's the Knicks. Exactly.
The Knicks have the 8th overall pick, and they have no idea who they're taking at that point. So they're going to throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. They're desperate.
The last time they were around this number, they took Kevin Knox, and we see how that turned out.
Oh, wow.
It didn't.
Was Shaq Gilgeous-Alexander still available for him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
So a little bit on the NFL, just because keep Jesse,
We're not talking about the MLB.
engaged. Alex Smith got cleared for football activity.
Lovely.
Great.
It's great that he's back, but there should be no shot that he plays, right?
I don't think he will. I think everybody kind of knows he won't, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of an agreed upon thing.
He's a mentor. That's it.
This kind of just like a good bookend for the feel-good comeback story, right?
Yeah.
But people also did say that about Bridgewater. Bridgewater was much younger, to be fair.
That's what I was going to say.
But most people were like, Bridgewater, when he was cleared for football contact, everybody was like, he's not stepping on a field again.
But
now he's a starting quarterback.
Alex Smith has had a full career though.
Agreed. But I'm just saying, let's not necessarily fully count it out. The Washington football team's quarterback is also Dwayne Haskins.
We also don't know really much about what Dwayne Haskins can and cannot do.
That is true.
And also the Washington offense isn't that great because they just lost Darius Geis.
The NFL's not that great because the NFL lost Darius Geis.
I just hope for Haskins' sake he doesn't get Josh Rosen. Now, I don't particularly think he's that great of a quarterback. Well, but here's the thing. Quarterbacks, you need time to grow. Well, Rosen got screwed in Arizona, if we're being honest.
For sure.
He didn't have a fair shot. Now, I don't think Haskins is particularly good. But at some point, a young quarterback should get more than a season to prove that they're the franchise guy or not.
Okay.
Well, and only given half a season, too. You're not – they don't even give them the full keys and be like, here, run with it. They're like, hey, we really don't want you to start. And then, week 5 rolls around, and they're like, hey, Rook, I know you've been taking third-string snaps, but you're starting this week.
What I don't understand is why, Haskins was not substantially worse than Daniel Jones. And everyone is so much higher on Daniel Jones than they are on Dwayne Haskins. When we really don't know much about
because
either.
Jones makes all the throws that you want to see.
Very accurate too.
Haskins, you still haven't seen that.
We don't know. Well, that's the thing. We don't know. Like people, there's so much we still don't know.
That's why I'm saying
Rosen about
yes.
Darnold. And people
agreed.
I think Darnold is what he is at this point.
Yeah, he's out of.
I think Darnold's good.
People are so quick to just put these judgments on quarterbacks that we've already decided that Drew Lock is a top 10 quarterback for some reason.
Don't get me started on that.
Who the hell said that?
A lot of people. Lot of people are like, well, they're like, Denver's got their franchise guy. That's it. It's a clear cut.
People like
he's
him
the
because
quarterback
he
for the
listens
next
to rap
15
music.
years.
He looks like Mark Hoppus.
I don't doubt Drew Lock can be a franchise quarterback. But let's not just that's their guy. Next 10 years, John Elway figured it out.
Which John Elway never figures out quarterbacks.
Yeah, unless he signs a Peyton Manning. But
my dad.
So
Paxton Lynch.
Paxton Lynch.
Worst draft pick.
Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad member now.
Nice.
I thought he was with Seattle.
No, I think he got cut from Seattle, and I think he was with Pittsburgh.
Who cares? This just bad. Talking about Paxton Lynch is bad content.
Yeah, we have 10 minutes left. I don't want to waste that on Paxton Lynch.
So with the 10 minutes, I'll throw out to you guys. What do you want to talk about then?
Let's talk about the New York Mets really quickly.
Okay, go for it. Well, they got COVID.
They got COVID. Okay. I'm going to say it right here, right now, right into this microphone, right looking to the camera, the viewers right now. There are 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and the New York Mets disappointing me. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, Clark, you could. Well, wait, weren't the Mets in a World Series?
Oh no, I'm not jumping ship.
No. I know, but they've been bad a while too.
Clark, real quick for you then, how does it make you feel to see Matt? Oh God,
Matt Harvey.
Why was I saying Matt Holliday? Whatever. Matt Harvey in a Royals uniform.
It makes me happy that he did really bad.
And he ended up in the.
Not a fan of the guy.
I thought you guys loved Matt Harvey.
Oh, I loved him when he liked us. It was a bad breakup. We're salty on both sides. It was a nasty breakup, and he's with the rival that beat him in the World Series.
You also forced him to get a rib.
You know what, Clark? I feel you, because when Darren Williams stepped into the finals in that Cavs uniform and bricked every single shot,
you loved it.
Oh God, I loved it.
You loved it.
I loved it.
And
it was my favorite thing.
Bombs off of Matt Harvey, destroying Matt Harvey. I'm with every second of that.
It made me feel good. Like I was like, dang, LeBron's really about to lose, and Darren Williams sucks. But God,
when Darren Williams was in net, you loved Darren Williams. We had Matt Harvey. It was Happy Harvey Day when he was pitching. Happy Harvey Day, but
he was never that good.
He was great for our rotation. He was a great centerpiece for our rotation. He wasn't the top guy. He wasn't the worst guy in the rotation. There's the Darren Williams jersey for our YouTube listeners right now. Darren Williams jersey that J Val showing us. But Matt Harvey was perfect for our rotation.
That one was for you, Jesse. You know where I got that? Nets opening night, because I was a Nets fan as a child.
You're just making Joe's point that you switched.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, I admit I was an NBA bandwagon fan.
The standard should not be different. It's either your loyalty is to all of your teams, or you're a bandwagoner.
What the hell did I get on this? It has brown streaks on it. That probably sums up that. Well, that sums up Darren Williams' tenure as a net.
Yeah. I was a really big Seahawks fan when Sherman was there, and they were
you auditioned for Sports Test in a Richard Sherman T-shirt jersey.
Richard Sherman is my favorite football player of all time.
Jesse, when you came to the sports desk, I'm like, I'll be damned if this kid gets on the desk, and you were wearing a T-shirt when everyone else was in suits.
Dude, I had to go get my suit that weekend. I wasn't gonna go down twice.
Oh, you were
2-hour drive.
You knew you were getting on anyway.
Yeah.
One last thing on this bandwagon thing.
Yeah.
If you're born into a team,
I was.
If you were born into the Orioles, I feel you can change at any time.
You can change
if you're born into the team.
You know what convinced me as a young child to become a fan of these crappy teams? My father said, "You like going to the games?" Right? I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you can't root for anyone else, or you won't be going anymore." So
that big Warren Valentovic laying down the law.
He said that when I was about 6. So
you still remember to this day. At least he got it stuck in your head. Wow.
So that's the mindset I have of it. That you're in it for life at that point.
I'm in it for life too. My dad was a Giants fan, and everyone at school was hyped about Eli Manning, so I switched to the other Manning because I wanted to be different. That's why I'm a Colts fan.
You always pick the better one.
Amen.
You say that like it's a debate. Like you say that like it's a
Eli's the better playoff quarterback, and Peyton's the better regular season quarterback.
That's also not true.
Regular season-wise, Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and in the
postseason,
postseason, he's one of the worst ones.
He wasn't like some of his playoff performances were really, really
great. But I'm just saying Eli's better in the playoffs.
Yeah, the 06 run, and that was it.
Eli's defense is better in the playoffs.
Well,
Eli also had a better offensive line in Super Bowl runs.
Yeah. Anything else to touch up on?
We could debate this all day, but we only got 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch up on?
I'm chilling.
Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
All right.
Screw Tom Brenneman.
Yeah, he should never have a job in MLB or any broadcasting.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah, he's done. Good. He deserves it. That was uncalled for. Very disgusting.
We have 3 to 4 years of college broadcasting, and we know, don't say anything that you might regret or don't want people to hear when you have a headset on, because the mic could be live. That's something ingrained into his freshman year of college, and he was a 30-year vet. It's on him. He screwed up.
It's on him. His personal beliefs got the best of him, which is sad to see. But if you say that stuff, you're fired. Plain and simple.
Did you see too? His father had like a similar incident too.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Marty.
Oh my God. It runs in the family.
Yeah, and there you go. So.
And I just want to say, hope Ron Rivera gets well soon. We found out he has cancer. It's not not as serious as the cancer with the lymph nodes. It's cancer, I think. So it's very treatable, but hopefully he has a successful way of dealing with the cancer, because I wish him all the best in that regard.
And with that, Clark, you want to close us out?
I would love to close us out right now. All right, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Department Podcast. This is our second episode we're recording this week. Third episode we're recording this week right now. We still have 2 more planned for this weekend. We have NXT TakeOver 30 and SummerSlam planned. So please subscribe so you don't miss any of the action that we have planned on this podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of those. Just do it all. Help us out. Give us 5-star review. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think of the show. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Department_pod. That does it for now. We'll see you in the next show.